Hello, my name is Connie Krupp, and I am a certified health and life coach. And I'm thrilled to be here today. As Kathy said earlier, with all her beautiful words, I am certified through the University of Idaho as a certified health and life coach. A little bit about my background: I was a social worker and a supervisor at a community um, or a county agency. And I was also a teacher at a technical college where I taught in the business and in the alcohol and drug social work program. And then a company approached me and asked me if I would be interested in writing curriculum for them. And I had already done that a lot at the college, along with being a career coach. And I jumped at the chance. So I left teaching early and became a consultant and formed my own instructional design curriculum development um, business, and have done that for quite a few years and love every minute of it. And before COVID hit, I started to feel that there was some changing in the air. People were not as trusting, people were becoming more angry, people were just having more fear. And coaching is what I always wanted to do, so I thought this is the chance. So I found an online program, as I said, through the University of Idaho, and I never looked back. I've been coaching since 2019, and my niche is mainly working with women over 40 who are unhappy with their career and want to switch careers or want to retire and still want to make a difference, or for people who have lost their jobs. I also work with people who want to get healthy, and one of the side effects of that is losing weight. But first of all, it's getting healthy. So those are my two niches. Um, I'm so excited to be here today. I worked as an instructional designer with North Idaho College and had the extreme pleasure of working with Kathy Albin and Chris Meyer. And we developed a 2-year associate degree program for the Coeur de Alene tribe. And it was just a wonderful experience. I got to spend as much time as I could out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And when that became defunct, as far as curriculum writing and whatever, I hear that the program is still going. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, enough about me. I really want to help others find joy. And so when Chris approached me about talking about a specific book or a book, I thought, oh, this is a perfect time for the Book of Joy. So, in your theme of surviving to thriving, this is a perfect opportunity to talk about that. My clients right now are lonely, worried, and scared. And we thought once we turned the page of 2020 and put that aside, things would be different. And as we know, we're still stuck quite in the middle of it. Things are getting better, but we're still pretty nervous and pretty scared. And we really need to be helping each other and be a lot more compassionate, more than ever right now. And so the book that I want to talk about is called The Book of Joy. And hopefully it will bring some joy back into your life. I know it does with mine and also with my clients. This book is pretty special to me. It's called The Book of Joy, and it's by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu and Douglas Abrams. And the the two of them are very good friends, and they laugh a lot, which is really cool. But I also want to point out the book cover is so pretty that I leave this on my bedstand and enjoy it tremendously. It's just such a great book. So we'll be talking a lot more about that. And I also started a Facebook group called The Book of Joy. And I'll talk more about that also later. But I really hope that all of you can join me in that. I'm going to do live discussion groups around the pillars and just what's going on in the world and things. But before we get started, I'd really like to have us be totally present. So I'd like to do a little real quick meditation breathing exercise that I do with my clients that really helps all of us calm down. It's called the 557 breathing. And what I'd like you to do is get comfy in your chair, put your feet on the ground so that we can be grounded. Bring your shoulders down, relax your jaw, and close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that. And what I'm going to do is ask you to inhale to the count of 5, hold your breath to the count of 5, and then exhale to the count of 7. And we'll do that for 3 times. Ready? We'll inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now breathe normally. Inhale, new, exciting inspiration. Exhale, old, worry, and doubt. And just take a couple of breaths at your own rate. Thank you for participating in that. This is a great, quick little exercise to do when you're stressed. If you're stuck in traffic, if you're afraid to go someplace or do something, to a public gathering that you're not feeling comfortable with right now. It's also a great activity to do before we eat because it slows down everything and we can metabolize our food better. So it helps us digest our foods a whole lot better. Okay, let's jump into the 8 pillars of joy. What I'm going to do is share my screen. And talk about the book. Okay, as I said, the Book of Joy is by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, and the person that wrote it, brought all of their thoughts together, is Douglas Abrams. So there are 8 pillars of joy. We'll talk about one at a time, and then I'm going to ask you to comment a little bit in the chat, if that's okay. And Terry's going to read off a couple of your comments, so that'll be great. The first one is perspective. A healthy perspective is the foundation of joy and happiness. The way we see the world is how we experience it. Stress makes it hard for us to step back and see the solutions. If we can look at this pandemic, for example, even though all of us have lost loved ones or friends, or we know someone that was very sick and we're not able to do the things we want to, if we can take a wider perspective, step back, we can see some of the positives that came out of it. We're having dinner with our families. We are spending less money on clothes and gas and having to be places. We're learning new technology. We're slowing down and being able to attend workshops like this that I wouldn't have been able to attend or participate in if I were living back in Wisconsin. In coaching, we call this reframing, looking at a crummy situation and turning it around and stating it into a positive and looking at what good can come out of it. If we can look at a few good things that have come out of a bad situation, we are reframing life more positively based on that broader, richer perspective. Desmond Tutu calls it God's eye perspective. If we can take ourselves out of the situation by stepping back, think about something that you have blown way out of proportion, and you took a step back and it turned out to be quite differently than what you thought it was. Put something in the chat about a perspective that was changed for you. Terry, do we have a couple of thoughts? Perfect. Thank you. The second pillar is humility. When we think of ourselves as special or better than, it causes us anxiety and stress. It's putting ourselves up on that pedestal. When we meet with people on a human level, we remember that we are all the same. When I was teaching at the community college, I had a mentor. His name was Dennis. Chris and Kathy know him. And he used to say to me when I was, just before I was teaching, Connie, remember, you are the guide on the side, not the sage on the stage. Oh, it just made me relax. It made me enjoy teaching so much more and made it fun. For example, and I was working with adults, of course, but when we would be learning about human resource policies, I would ask them to bring in their policies. And as we reviewed the rules and regulations, we looked at their policies and they would talk about what's working and what wasn't working. It made my job so much easier and so much more fun. Humility helps us grow because we don't act like we have to know it all. It takes all the pressure of always being right. It's lifelong learning. Think about a time in your life when feeling humble helped you feel better about the situation. Put that in the chat. Terry, what have we got? Yes. The third one is humor. Right now, the world is very serious. People are scared. One of the best ways of getting into the hearts of people is to have the capacity to make them laugh. It's important to laugh at ourselves, too. We are human. Again, Desmond Tutu says, if you start looking for the humor in life, you'll find it. Watching the evening news does not bring humor to my life. Watching America's Funniest Videos does, or a really good, happy, funny movie. What are some things that make you laugh? Put that in the chat. Yes, thank you. I have a couple of cute billboards from a restaurant it's called El Royra's in Austin, Texas, around the pandemic. One said, "You smell great. What hand sanitizer are you wearing?" Another one, "This show is boring. My boss, again, Connie, this is a Zoom meeting." 3, "When the virus is over, I still want some of you all to stay away from me." And there are so many fun little quirks that are coming out of this. We have to look for the humor in life right now. Pillar 4 is acceptance. Once we see life in its wider perspective, we can see our role in its drama and some degree of humility, and we'll laugh at ourselves, and then we can accept our life in all its pain, its imperfections, and its beauty. Acceptance is the opposite of resignation and defeat. Stress and anxiety come from our expectations of how we think life should be. Most of our suffering comes from our reacting to people, places, things, and circumstances in our lives rather than accepting them. It's the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. How true. I can't change my age. I can't change the weather. What are some things that you need to accept that you can't change? Put that in the chat, please. How true. Thank you. Number 5 is forgiveness. Not being able to forgive someone is like holding on a piece of burning coal, hoping to hurt them by throwing them at it. We're the only ones that get burnt. Often people that are the closest to us, we have the hardest time forgiving. What do you think that's all about? To forgive does not mean we approve or condone the wrongdoing. It's the difference between the person and the action. We have the power to choose not to hold on to that anger and that hatred. It hurts us more than the person we're angry with. And this is where the power of forgiveness comes in. Think about a person that you're angry with. Imagine holding a piece of burning coal. Who is it hurting? It keeps us stuck and doesn't allow us to move on. Imagine forgiving that person. Can you forgive someone in your life? Put a yes, a no, maybe. Let's hope there's more yeses than nos. Thank you. Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the dimensions of finding joy. It's key. Being grateful helps us shift our perspective, which was pillar 1, toward all we have given and all that we have instead of what we don't have. When we are grateful, we act out of a sense of enough and not out of a sense of scarcity. Grateful people are joyful people, and a joyful world is a happy world. People who focus on gratitude by keeping a list or a journal for what they are grateful for each day exercise more, have fewer physical symptoms, get sick less, and live longer. Gratitude motivates us. It's easier to be with people that are grateful because they think more positive. Think about something that you're grateful for. Write it in the chat. Pillar 7 is compassion. We are social animals. This pandemic has made it very hard to be social. Our survival depends on the rest of the community. The Dalai Lama says, if you want a happy life and fewer problems, you have to develop a concern for the well-being of others. The more time we spend thinking about ourselves, the more suffering we will experience. The incredible thing is that when we think of alleviating other people's sufferings, our own suffering is reduced. It's a stated fact. This is the true secret to happiness. Many people are afraid to be compassionate because they think they will be taken advantage of, or they won't be able to handle other distress, or there are too many problems that we can't help. And many people are afraid of receiving compassion from others because they will appear weak. Compassion is one of the most difficult and courageous of all our motivations, but it's also the most healing and can bring us the most joy. Think about one person you can reach out to during this pandemic. What compassionate thing can you do for this person? Put that in the chat. Pillar 8 is generosity. Generosity and compassion go hand in hand. When we care about someone, we are more likely to give time, money, and support to them. Generosity is so important in our survival that studies show that our brain lights up when we are giving back. Again, many people are afraid to be generous because they're afraid they're going to be taken advantage of. It's going to go to the wrong place, or we're afraid that we're going to take on too much and it's going to be hard on us. But we can give material things like time and money, and we can give freedom of fear by providing protection, solace, and spiritual giving by giving them wisdom, moral and ethical teachings, praying and helping people be happier. And some people just don't think it's going to be enough. But it's like the little boy and the starfish. And many of you remember the story. There's a little boy walking down the oceans, and all these starfish washed up because of a big storm. And a jogger runs past and he sees the little boy picking up the starfish and throwing it back into the sea. And he says, "What are you doing?" And the little boy says, "I'm saving a starfish." And the man says, "There's no way that you can save all those starfish." And the little boy picks one up that's kind of moving and he throws it back in the sea and sees it swim off. And he says, "I just saved that one." And it is one person at a time, one step at a time. The Dalai Lama says, in fact, taking care of others ultimately is the way to discover your own joy and to have a happier life. Think about someone or some way you can be generous during these tough times. Put that in the chat. Thank you for all your input. As I said, Dalai Lama says educating our children to have more compassion is the single most important thing that we can do. And we need to be their role models. We should not wait till they grow up. We need to be helping our children be more compassionate now. The Dalai Lama says 10 minutes a day can lead to 24 hours of joy. Doesn't that bring us joy? And doesn't that help us survive? There's from Jinpa's, the book, A Fearless Heart. They say in the book, think of someone that's suffering. Think about someone that's really hurting right now, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And think about that person and put that person in your heart, and then say this little prayer for them. May you be free from suffering. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you find peace and joy. Thank you so much for allowing me to discuss this book, one of my very, very all-time favorites. And before we go, I just want to talk a little bit about some next steps. So I do have my own consulting business, as I said earlier. And you can contact me on my website. I developed a free Book of Joy journal that has some of the discussion that I just talked about. And it also has some thought-provoking questions. And what I like to do is take a pillar a day and read through the journal and just jot some things down. If you're interested in that ebook, just go to my website, Wellness for Life Coaching, and a little pop-up will come on, and then you just ask you to put in your name and your address, and I'll send you the free book. And I do send out free ebooks every month. So if you're interested in that, you'll get a free book. If you're not interested, just unsubscribe. If you're interested in a free consultation regarding changing some major habits to change your life, you can contact me at my email, Connie at Wellness for Life Coaching. I'm also on Instagram. I'm always posting recipes and tips on immune system and things to keep you happy and warm, and vitamins during the winter months. And I also, as I said earlier, started a Facebook group. It's called the Group for Book of Joy, and here is the link. And Kathy and Terry will be putting that in the resource, your electronic resource book too. So what I would like for you to do is there'll be a couple of questions. What did you enjoy about the book? And what would be a favorite time for you to meet live? As I said, I'll do weekly live sessions that'll last maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. We can discuss a pillar. You can ask questions about other health topics or finding a new career. If I don't have the answer, I have a coach that I work with, actually 2 coaches. I also have a nutritionist that's part of my business, and I have an HR director. So if I can't answer the questions immediately, I'll certainly get you the answer. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now and come back live. Again, I really thank you for taking the time to join me today. I hope you buy the book. And I know that Kathy's going to talk a little bit more about the book and where to get it and all of that stuff. But first, Kathy's going to bring up the Mary Meter, and we're going to ask a couple of questions about the book, and you can put those answers in, and then you'll see the results on your screen through the Mary Meter as you're entering. Again, I hope I get to come out to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho soon and spend some personal time with all of you. But until then, let's stay connected through the Book of Joy Facebook group and my website, or you can DM me. But I'd really like to connect with many of you. Stay safe. Thanks.